Hello and welcome to our very special May edition of ATXM News. I'm Jessica Forsythe.
And I'm Ray Price.
Happy Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. We're both musicians working for musicians through Austin, Texas Musicians nonprofit, serving the Central Texas music community on city, state, and federal policy, and providing basic needs and services that improve our quality of life.
So much of our advocacy work involves both education and preservation. And with this special AAPI Heritage Month edition of ATXM News, we hope to shine a spotlight on some very important AAPI musicians who make Austin music what it is.
We've gone in depth with 3 Austin musicians that you, our audience, told us you wanted to hear more about.
Without further ado, we sat down with Miggy Miller.
My name is Miggy Miller, and I'm a singer-songwriter here in Austin, Texas. You know, funny enough, I did not know what I wanted to do growing up as an adult. Throughout my whole pretty much school years, because as a Filipino, I did a lot of, like you said, karaoke parties that I would just sing a lot. And I just thought that was normal. I thought everyone sang at parties, which most of my friends and family did. No vocal training, nothing like that. Maybe I played a little bit guitar, maybe a few piano lessons that never really went through. But it was until high school, I had a best friend, he played guitar, and he was like, "Hey Miggy, I want to go to a summer camp in Boston. It's this school called Berkeley." I had no idea what it was. I was like, "Yeah man, I'll come, I'm not doing anything this summer." I came over there and he goes like, "Hey, you should probably try out for guitar." I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Did not make it. But the teacher heard me singing as I was playing and he goes, "Hold on a sec. You sing?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, it sounds like you're a lot better singer than you're a guitar." But no qualms. You can like carry on a tune. But he goes, "You should probably go next door and audition for vocals on this." And I did. And that's actually how my musical journey kind of began. I got in during the summer program in 2007, and then that's when I found out that people do music for a living. I had no idea. No, my parents wanted me to be a nurse or a doctor. By the end of 2011, I realized I was like, I think I'm ready to just, because I was already doing gigs, and I was like, hey, I'm getting paid, I'm already doing this stuff. What's the next move? So I moved to Austin, Texas, because I heard it was really happening at the time too, especially now. And I guess the rest is kind of history, man. How long have I lived here? 13 years now? And here I am. I've played in a lot of bands. I've played in different songwriting, like camps. I'm like a freelance songwriter. I sing for like different corporate bands and events too. Kind of many hats. One of the biggest challenges I've had throughout that's kept coming up and more is sometimes when they see me or even when they read my name, sometimes it happens till now, they'll be like, "What kind of music do you play? How can I really fit you in a bill?" Funny enough, it's not happening as much now in the past. I mean, it's still hard, but it's kind of cool how a lot of Asian Americans are now doing a lot more music in the pop scene. Like, whether it's like Korean music or J-pop, K-pop has really helped. YouTube helped a lot with like some Asian American artists. But in the beginning, it was almost just like, it's kind of didn't get a lot of bookings. You know, funny enough, when I was starting to do original music too and record it, I was told to send it into a lot of like even public radio here in Austin or different associations, and when I did, I would get emails back saying, "This is not the kind of sound or music we're kind of looking for." Yeah, it was interesting because I was just like, but all my other friends are getting played, and I'm playing in their bands, and you're playing me playing in their bands, but not. I don't understand. So I wasn't like, maybe there's a connection that I don't know, that they just don't know. You know, I don't know, whatever it is, but. That's been a big challenging part sometimes playing. So I just said, "Evan, I'll do it my own way." and I just started. I'm just gonna do gigs this way. I'm gonna do the songs, always done the songs I want instead of just doing whatever bands I've been playing and try to chameleon my way through.
I don't think we should take it slow. I wanna see if we could.
I am Filipino American. I was born in the Philippines, came to the USA, Queens, New York, when I was 1. Both my parents are nurses. Supported, maybe not in the beginning, but overall did support me afterwards, seeing like, wait, people are really responding to you singing and coming to your gigs, so you're getting there's groups of people that are coming in. A good support is maybe searching, which is also kind of hard, but you can look out and see where other fellow Asian American artists are also playing. Not even Asian American, just be anything. Just try to really look for it, because word of mouth, if you ask me, I could direct you to another person who's playing and actually go to the show. I know a lot of people don't like maybe going out as much anymore nowadays, which I'm trying to figure out too. But for example, when I lived in the East Coast, there were many Asian American districts. I used to do all the college scenes, for example, which there is a big Asian American college scene here that people don't tap into. For Filipinos, there's a thing called District 1. So there are different districts in the East Coast, and all the different colleges for Filipino clubs come annually for this thing called D1. And that's thousands of Filipino Americans from different colleges coming together. Maybe someone could do something like that here, because I know there's Filipino, not just even Filipino, but Asian American clubs and stuff. Maybe we can have ambassadors coming from the Asian American Association here and reach out to these communities, maybe find the presidents and be like, hey, let's put on a show with all these young aspiring artists, or it doesn't even have to be singers or anything, just put it together like they do there. Why have I not done this? Living here in Austin too, every year I see a lot of people moving here too, which, some people's I don't want people to move here, whatever. But like you said, I see a lot of, especially young Asian American artists coming here, whether they're DJs, they're singers, they're instrumentalists coming from different places around the world or different cities, and they are playing out. It's kind of cool seeing so many different talents, or people producing, people songwriting, and they're coming together and they're supporting each other. I think sometimes which I had to learn myself, I wish I had a mentor growing up. I kind of had to figure it out, but I think that's the thing. There's a lot of people who don't have mentors doing the kind of stuff that we do. There's not a lot of especially for Asian American artists. So everyone's kind of figuring it out. So I try to always give back when I'm out here at these shows. I'll want to introduce myself and be like, hey man, these are some cool venues you can try to come out. I can give you also contacts, people gigging, because you can vet people, especially if people trust you at this point.
I don't know what you heard about me. Don't call, can't give you nothing.
Some of my proudest moments actually aren't some of the biggest that people probably consider. When I was maybe 13, 14 years old, there's this organization I saw on YouTube. They were called Collaboration, but with a K. And this is before the big K-pop boom and all this kind of stuff. And it was this talent show that they'd have in LA, or they had it in Boston. So once I was old enough, I tried out for the Collaboration talent show when I was in Boston, and I got in, and it was crazy because it was I used to watch this on YouTube. It was cool seeing people some fellow Asian people who love the same things I do, and we're all doing the same things as a community. And we were in a theater and everything, and I was like, this is great. I've never seen this in my life before. So actually, that's one of my favorite moments. One of the proud moments, some of my proudest moments really is working with my best friends, if that sounds so cheesy, man. We there's a lot of groups here that I love to work with a lot. For example, the side projects I have with my other best friends, the Midnight Snack with Ty and Zach. There is a group called Lock and Key here who does a lot of songwriting. Actually, not even a lot of artists here. I don't know if you're familiar. They get people from overseas, like whether it's the UK or stuff like that. And I love songwriting and singing and performing. Many hats. Like these are the opportunity to be able to do all these things, and people still want me to come back into the room. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm okay to be around. I am good at what or at least to contribute.
Love Miggy. You know, his positive energy and songwriting just make me want to get up and dance. I absolutely adore his band Midnight Snack, which also features two of our Musicians Advisory panel members, Ty Austin and Zach Morgan.
You know, that's a great band name because everyone needs a little snack here and then, and I think Miggy's a great one. You should go check him out. Next up, we got to talk to the amazing Austin songwriter Betty Sue. Let's check it out.
Well, I grew up outside of Houston, a town called Spring, and moved to Austin in the 90s when I was a teenager. And, I grew up in a musical family. I didn't think I would do music for a living, or a job. And we all played instruments and sang in my family. And we were a very religious family. So it was a lot of church music, that kind of stuff. And then, it wasn't until I was in my late 20s, I was married already, and I was in grad school to become a therapist, actually, when a mentor and I were out to coffee one day, and she said, everybody in your life except for you knows that you want to do music. So what are you going to do about that? And I just thought she was really presumptuous and kind of rude for saying it. But I talked to him. It took me like a couple days to even admit to anybody that conversation had happened. And I told my husband about it, and kind of outside of his personality, he said, I think she's right. I think that's what you want to do. And so then I knew I had to really pay attention and think about it. And and she was right. I hadn't never given myself permission to even think about something like that. It was so, in my mind, especially growing up with like classical music training and stuff, what from a very young age is that only the kind of prodigies can make a living, and everybody else just forget about it. I started writing songs. Mostly at the beginning, I was only writing songs because I needed to meet songwriters, and I wanted to sing. Harmony is kind of my favorite thing. It's still my favorite thing to do musically, is to collaborate with other people. But I knew I needed to meet songwriters, so I started writing songs, and then people started hearing them and going, "Oh, you want to write together?" and all this kind of stuff. And then it turned out that I really loved songwriting, which shouldn't be a surprise because I was an English major in college, and I've always loved writing. I was born and raised here in the States, and this is my primary culture, and it's the only language I speak fluently. It's English, and the thing is, if my parents had emigrated from Germany, nobody would ever ask me, "How did you get into this genre?" or "Why is Americana or folk or country? Why is that your first musical language?" As a writer, and it's like, well, because I grew up in Spring. I mean, Lyle Lovett was our hometown hero. That was the kind of stuff that everybody listened to. We listened to country radio and some pop, and concerts around where, my parents used to two-step at the Texas Tumbleweed when I was growing up. I mean, that's just one of those things. And but people see your face and they immediately think, "Oh, this is foreign." For the size of city we have, for the kind of resources that are available, to have a daily paper that doesn't have like a music features writer, and I'm not saying that's the fault of the paper. There's a whole ecosystem that's disappeared. There used to be kind of this symbiotic relationship between entities like Chamber of Commerce or ACDB and business interests who wanted to bring tourists to Austin and used music as a little carrot, for venues who were advertising in the paper what their weekly lineups were, and for papers who were using that ad revenue really to fund writers and editors who were going to promote the events at those venues. And some pieces of that have been disrupted. to where that's no longer, you know, the setup. And I think we have to figure that out, because whether media has moved to a different place or whether we need to find how to make venues and media symbiotic again, you know, because musicians are the, well, and the local venues, you know, they all end up suffering for that lack. And, you know, I know that the live music fund applications are going live. What, today is it? And of course, the way that money is already allocated, I want everybody to apply. I'll probably apply for one, you know. I mean, I think that money is already earmarked and it should go to those things. But I always wonder if that money, and I'll caveat this by saying I do believe in direct funding, and I think that direct funding for a lot of needs and for a lot of issues is definitely the most effective way. Things like housing assistance, things like food assistance, you know, for a lot of people, just cash to go towards those expenses makes a lot of sense. In this case, though, I feel like $15,000 or $30,000 that ends up being spent on like one record for one artist may or may not even impact the career of that one artist. However, if a $30,000 grant paid for a halftime writer, say, at a paper, that would affect hundreds of artists. When I was a kid, you know, I think there was like a little part of me that wanted to be like a Broadway person, but I would have never confessed that even to myself, couldn't even admit it to myself, but you know, but I never learned to do tap, jazz, and ballet, so that's out. But, you know, I think the other thing was I would listen to albums and I'd listen to those harmony singers, and I knew from when I was little that I was like, I could do that, I wish I could do that, you know, but I would never pursue that because I just thought that wasn't reality. And now I've gotten to do that, you know, and I know that may not be like the kind of achievement that most people think of as kind of the pinnacle. Like, I think most people, when I talk about how happy I am singing harmony, or if people just say, wow, you've sung on a lot of other people's albums, they always talk about that movie 20 Feet from Stardom, and they think of it as kind of a shame, you know, like, not like I should be ashamed, but like, oh, it's such a shame, like, you should be the star, you know. And it's like, I love leading my own band, I love singing my own songs, I love playing my own music, but I wouldn't give up harmony singing for anything. I mean, it is still kind of my favorite thing, and there is something about I think, you know, permission has always been a struggle and has always been a kind of theme for me, and part of that is growing up, you know, in a really religious household, in a very kind of strict Asian, like kind of stereotypical Asian American household in some ways. But like, I could never busk, for example, because I feel like, well, nobody asked for that music. And I would just feel like I was imposing that on somebody. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people who do busk, but just like my mindset, I can't go there because I don't feel an invitation. Whereas standing on a stage, everybody has chosen to be there. They've bought a ticket, they're there, and like, they have put their buy-in on wanting this to happen. And I think there's an even other level for that, for when you get to sing harmony or be a player, a sideman in somebody else's music. It's like, this is their artistic vision, and they are inviting you to take part in it and to bring your own thing to it. And I feel like that level of invitation for another artist to say, I want you to be part of my sound, I think is like the biggest honor. So yeah, I'm thrilled that once I was on the Austin Chronicle cover. I'm thrilled that I got my day in Austin, you know, Betty Sue Day or whatever, and, you know, playing a lot of cool festivals and a lot of cool radio shows, and, you know, been on E-Town, and, you know, James McMurtry brought me with him to sing on the Grand Ole Opry, and, you know, I mean, I've done some cool things, but like, I think the thing I am most proud of is singing with other people and on their records. Yeah, so I'm playing locally some, and I don't know when this will go up, but I'll be playing a few local shows. At the end of May, I'm going to do a fundraiser for Home, which, for anybody who's not familiar, Nancy Copeland and Marsha Ball and a bunch of ladies have this nonprofit that helps provide rent assistance to some elderly musicians in Austin. And Central Market has teamed up with them. Kimmy Rhodes kind of helps run this program where she has musicians come in and teach cooking classes at the Central Market Cooking School. And HEB is donating all of the money raised from those to Home. So we'll go in. So I'm going to teach a little class at the end of May where I'm going to teach people to make this one Korean dish that I grew up eating, and then we'll have a little mini concert, and everybody gets to eat delicious Korean food, and all the money goes to Home. So all the money goes to help pay rent for some musicians who, are struggling against rising housing prices in Austin. So it's a cool thing. And then in June, and for most of the summer, I'll be in and out of town a lot. I'll be on tour with James McMurtry and with Chris Smither, and playing a few festivals and different things around the country. So yeah.
Okay, so I have to take a second and talk about Betty Sue because I really admire her. My songwriting has a crush on her songwriting, and her lyrics are chewy. They give you something to bite down on. And she and I are both members of Dave Madden's 1159 songwriting group that we featured last month on ATXM News. So just excited about the 1159 and love seeing what Betty Sue is doing. So let's just keep watching her.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And now, last but very much not least, let's hear from a young musician who's making big waves in the Austin music scene, Andrew Tran.
Well, my name is Andrew Tran, and I'm a singer-songwriter from Austin, Texas. I feel like I've wanted to do music my entire life. I feel like I was born listening to music, and I've always been singing in some capacity. Singing is my comfort. It's what brings me joy, and I've always known I want to be a singer. I have to be a singer-songwriter. There's no other option. That's where I find joy and peace. I really love Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift and Billy Joel and Elton John and Michael Jackson. I think those are some of my greatest musical influences. Of course, now I really love Benson Boone and Olivia Rodrigo. And I think mainstream pop is the genre that influences me the most. I really try to write things that make people feel things, and that's what I admire from Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift the most, I think, is that their music is able to bring people through tough times and good times, and it's able to bring out emotions in people. And so that's what I really strive to do with my music. I think one of the biggest challenges I've had to overcome as an artist is being a minor in age, because I think playing at certain venues like bars and clubs is very difficult because a lot of times they don't allow minors to perform there. So I think the biggest thing that I've found out is if you just try to start a conversation or to try to talk to the folks in charge of these places, a lot of times you can set something up that will let me play or something like that. But yeah, I think age is one of the biggest things. I'm going on a mini tour this year, and I'll be hitting like 10 cities, and I'll be getting to play at all these venues, and I'm really excited about it. I'm going with Minifest, and I think the best thing about it is that it allows me to play at venues that I normally wouldn't be able to because of my age, the biggest hurdle. I think that the community can, I think it's always nice to give everyone a shot. I think everyone deserves the chance to prove themselves and to really be able to perform and show the world or the community what they've got. And I think that's one of the basic things that every single AAPI artist and young artist is almost entitled to, is the ability to try. So I think just giving these artists more options and more opportunities is the biggest thing. This year I released my first 3 singles ever on all streaming platforms. So there's One and Butterflies and Superman. Those are my first 3. I released those before my birthday in April, so I like to think of those as my like 15-year-old my 15-year-old era, and now we're jumping into my 16-year-old era, if you will. But I think those are some of my like biggest or my favorite accomplishments, at least. Is just getting my music out there, and I think the biggest thing for a singer-songwriter is knowing that when they release something, their music's going to be heard, and I think that's really special to be able to release something and at least feel proud of it. And I really feel proud of my songs. I have my 10-city mini tour coming up, and I'm really excited about that. That's coming up sort of end of summer and then during the fall. But every month, once a month, the first Sunday of every month, I host a monthly singer-songwriter night at the Moxie Hotel in Austin. I think it's on Guadalupe, and it's from 5 to 8 p.m. It's all original songs, so you'll go up there and you can sing like 2 or 3 just original songs. It's a great listening room. People are very supportive and very kind and encouraging. I think it's really a great experience because you'll have like the first round, so you'll get to sing 2 songs, and then once everyone has performed, you'll get to go up for like a 3rd round, like your callbacks. So you'll get to perform an extra song, and so I host that once a month. And then of course I'm just gonna keep trying to perform and keep getting myself out there.
It's amazing to see talented people, but especially really, really, really young talented people that are being lifted up by their families and their communities. Sounds like we get to look forward to some amazing music coming from Andrew for many years to come. We hope we were able to shine a little bit of light on some truly incredible musicians for the Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And with that, our special episode comes to a close.
Austin, Texas Musicians is committed to serving our music community through advocacy, education, and a little bit of inspiration along the way. Catch our next episodes to see stories on the projects we're working on and ways we're fighting for all musicians to have a better quality of life within the live music capital of the world. We hope you'll join us on this journey. Happy AAPI Heritage Month.
And make sure to get out and support your local AAPI artists and businesses.
See you next
See you
time.
next time. I think that's cute.